How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. We are back with a community questions video. This has been a while since I've done one of these. I'm not sure why. I've just not sat and thought about questions. I've just not been sat thinking like, what's the next question I could ask? And I don't know if that's just because I was busy with other stuff maybe. But either way, if you've missed this series, get down in the comments and leave some other stuff that you would like to see me ask the community, and we can get some feedback from them on that sort of stuff too. But anyway, what this series is I put a question on my community section on YouTube asking people certain things, and then you'll leave comments down below. We'll read your answers to that, and then of course I'll give my thoughts on some of it as well. It can get quite interesting, so hopefully you do enjoy. If you are new to the channel today, then this could be something quite new to you, so I hope you enjoy as well. And of course, if you do, then do subscribe to the channel, leave a like on it too. The question that I put out today was, what are the most commonly asked questions you see? This could be from clan chat, new players, or experienced players. So let's talk about that. Let's see what questions you guys see asked the most during your clans, or maybe people just coming up and asking you questions and stuff, and then maybe we can answer those questions today. Anyway, let's go. Okay, so the first comment is from Cheeseburgers Are People Too. What a name, that's freaking awesome. Anyway, you say something that's more common lately would be, how do I buy or sell items over max cash without getting scammed? Like, more and more drops in game are going for over max cash, and how do people offload them without losing a ton of GP by just selling? And then also you said, why is there a dragon in my living room that's guarding the trapdoor? We'll just stick to the first question in this one, but it's definitely a really good question, so let's talk about that. So recently I had to buy my fractured staff of Armadillo, of course, and what I had to do with that is actually find a person who was selling that and make sure that was a reasonable price, right? I could have been definitely scammed, and to be honest, I think I got a pretty good deal on mine. So at the time I paid 4.9 billion GP, way over max cash, which means you can't use the grand exchange, which means you can definitely fall into a scam this way, like you said. What I did is I went to the SootyBot Discord, and I'll put a link in the description if I remember, but if not, just leave a comment reminding me if you're looking for it, and I will sort that out for you. But in here, as you can see, there is a person-to-person bit, and in this person-to-person bit, there is all the people that are buying and selling certain items. So if you're looking for something over max cash, this is a great place to come. They sell rares, they sell like the Staff of Armadillo and dyes, all that sort of stuff. Things that are over max cash, you can tend to find in here, right? So one place you can start is looking in here for what you want to buy, but you'll notice that most people will say, DM me an offer, something like that. Now, you don't want to go with the first person that you message. The reason being is if you only go with one person, you could end up getting scammed. So you want to message 3, maybe 4 people, just message them, send them an offer. If they don't want to give you an offer, send them an offer. If they accept it straight away, no issues, they're just like, yeah, meet this world now, let's go. You're probably offering a little bit too high. If you undercut it a little bit and they come back to you saying, what about this much? You kind of know what they're aiming to sell it for, right? And you can know that you can probably sell one for that price. The next thing you can do is also use the price checker, which is from SootyBot as well. There's one in my main Discord, but there's also one in here too. You just type .pc and then space and then the item name, and it will show you the recent trades that have been proved. So that gives you a good idea of the price too. But if there's not been anything updated for a while, your best bet is to message a few people in here and get an idea of the price. You can actually sell for what they're wanting to sell for. So if you have a fractured staff of Armadillo and you want to sell that, you would message someone who is selling a staff of Armadillo and you will see what they want to sell for. If they are selling, they want to get the best price and they know what price they can get for it. So if you can figure out what price they want to use by asking a few people, and then you can sort of decide, right, I can sell mine maybe a little bit cheaper because I'm not trying to get the absolute best margin, but I don't want to get scammed. Then you can cut down a little bit, get it sold off, and that's fine. If you're buying, you do the same thing. You could find someone who you know is buying and selling Staffs of Armadillo, and then you can ask them what they want to buy your Staff of Armadillo for, even though you don't have one. And then when you get their offer, that's probably a pretty good buy-in point because they're going to want to buy low and sell high. So you can probably just up that a little bit just to close the gap, so you can definitely make sure you get one and go with that. But like I say, shop around. Don't just go to one person. Let them tell you exactly what the price is, because if they tell you it's 6 bill, but it's actually 5.5 and you're buying theirs, you're going to get scammed. So what you want to do is ask a few people, and if the prices all match, if the prices are pretty close, then you're all right. If the price is a huge difference, then you either go with the best price or you ask another person as well. I know this one's took a while, but this is actually quite important, so I'm going to end this one here. But if you have any questions about it, send me a DM on Discord and I'll explain exactly what I meant, just in case some bits weren't exactly clear. The next question comes from some guy, and he says, what do I train next? Usually followed by, is Arc even worth it? And then the classic, how can I solo X-Boss semi-AFK? Okay, so we'll start. These are actually all really good questions. We'll cover them all for this one. But the first one, what do I train next, is not possible for me to really answer directly, because it depends where you're at in the game. If you have 10 combat stats, then maybe you should level your combat. But it depends where you are, depends on what levels you are and stuff. But at the same time, it depends on what goal you have set. And you should always have a goal set, whether it's to get to endgame PVM, whether it's to max your account, or whether it's to make as much money as possible and stuff like that. But as long as you have a goal set, like a big endgame goal set, you can set smaller goals to get towards that goal, right? And that's how you decide what you need to train next. If combat is going to benefit you because you want to make as much money as possible, and you know that killing certain bosses is going to be really valuable, then you want to level up your combat. But then once you get to the bosses, maybe you need your overloads to make sure you can actually get through them a bit easier. So Herbalore is going to be the way to go. If you need to get a little bit of extra DPS, then maybe Invention is your next thing to do, seeing as you can get perks from that is going to help out quite a bit. So it all depends on where you are, but just sort of set a big endgame goal, or a goal that you want to work towards, and just sort of look at that and see what's going to benefit me the most in the next situation. This question will always be asked no matter what, because it's just a question that is so dependent on where you are. So just keep asking it. It's fine. Keep asking this question in your clan chats and stuff. The next question was, is Arc even worth it? As much as it hurts me to say it, yes, archaeology is really good. It does have quite a few benefits, and it will help out quite a bit. Of course, you can get away without having it because it's a new skill and we were doing fine before it. But yeah, I would say archaeology is worth it. Then the classic, how can I solo X-Boss semi-AFK? Well, it depends which it is, but I'm not going to lie. If you want to solo a boss AFK, I believe Protox does quite a lot of AFK boss guides, so maybe just see if he's done one for that. That might be the best way to do it. Alright, so the next comment has four things on here, but it's pretty quick. It says, 1, how do I make money? 2, what is the way to learn X-Boss? 3, what should I buy, this upgrade or the other? 4, why is Init such a noob? Okay, so we can write off the fourth one pretty much, because let's be honest, there's no excuse. I'm just a noob. That's just how it is. But anyway, coming from the person who is sending this as well, I think these questions are fairly familiar to me. But either way, 1, how do I make money? There's so many ways to make money. It depends where you are in your account. This is not something I can really answer. There's a ton of money making guides on YouTube. They're not really that helpful if they're step-by-step ones, because they just sort of tell you methods that don't tend to work for a while after the video's gone up. But they can still give you ideas of the sort of things you should be doing. But otherwise, honestly, Slayer and PVM clues and stuff like that are usually your best ways to go for making good money, like big good money. But otherwise, there's a lot of ways to make money. It's just going to be something that you're going to have to put time into figuring out. So I'm super helpful with that one, of course. What is the way to learn X-Boss? So like I say, there's going to be guides and stuff on YouTube. There's going to be written guides on the wiki. But otherwise, ask people to go with duos if you can and see if they can help you, experience people. There is people that like to help people, like learners. There's people that like to teach bosses and stuff. But also, jump into our clan as a guest as well. And then depending on what boss it is, if it's like group bosses, we are working on getting that running a lot better to take lots of learners and stuff. We do AOD masters. We do like raids and stuff as well for learners. So get involved in that too. But otherwise, there's YouTube guides. Go and have a look at those. They help a lot. But then once you don't understand, if you don't understand stuff about certain things about the boss, just ask other players in clans and stuff. Ask them to explain something. People will always help out. But other than that, it's just a lot of practice. It's just putting the actual stuff into practice and improving at it that way. 3, what should I buy, this upgrade or the other? There's a couple of ways you want to look at this, right? There's the way that is going to be the most efficient, and usually you can get that information from PVME, or you could just ask in a clan. But you usually want to upgrade your weapons before armor first. That is usually the order you want to go off, and that is like the base rule of it. But there's going to be some exceptions as well. But the second way you want to look at this is not just necessarily what's the most efficient way, what's going to give me the absolute best tiny % increase compared to the next. And that other way is, what are you going to enjoy the most? So sometimes people say to me, what should I get? Should I get the tier 99 curse for range, or should I get myself an SGB? And while it may be better to get the curse, I always say, are you going to enjoy the SGB a lot more? Are you going to enjoy it? Are you excited to have it? Because I'm sure you're probably not that excited to have a curse. So just get what you're going to enjoy the most as well. Like, the difference is going to be noticeable in some places, because SGB just isn't going to work in every single place, right? But if you're personally not that fussed about getting absolutely the top amount of DPS out of everything, if you're going to enjoy the SGB more, because you're asking the question on purpose, you're asking the question because you're probably leaning towards the SGB, and that's probably just because you want to own an SGB. Just get it. Just freaking get it. If you're going to enjoy it more, then just go for it. Always go for what you enjoy if that's what you want to do. But if you're looking for the absolute best optimal stuff, then you probably want to either check the PvMe Discord for like the upgrade order list, and obviously take that with a grain of salt as well. There's going to be little bits here and there that change when updates come out and stuff, and it's not going to always be spot on for you depending on what you're doing, but it gives you a good baseline of it. But otherwise, again, just asking clans and stuff, get that information. But if there is something that you're looking at and you're thinking, I'm probably going to enjoy this more, then just go for it if that's what matters to you, because if it's going to make it so that getting that next 900 mil for your curse is going to be a lot more enjoyable, then hell, that sounds good to me. The next comment says, which boss to start with first? Especially with Arc Glacier, is it worth starting from God Wars 1 like the old days? So I think what this person is saying is, as a new player, someone getting into PvM, where should you start? What boss should you actually start with? And while this is, again, like another subjective one, it depends where you are with your account. I would actually say that the PvM progression for someone who is like literally just getting into PvM, God Wars 1 is still great because you learn your DPS rotations there. If you can increase your kill times at those bosses, you know that you're increasing your DPS. That's just the simplest way about it. And you don't have to deal with mechanics while you're there as well. You usually just stand in a certain place and just do as much DPS as you can. That is usually how God Wars 1 works. So God Wars 1 is definitely still a good place to go to practice that. If you are working on rotations and stuff, then absolutely. But once you go from there, I'd say God Wars 2 is great. Vindicta and Hellweir are absolutely great for learning stuff. They teach you about defensives like resonance, using anticipate and stuff, and making sure your positioning is great as well. And using defensives is such a valuable thing in PvM, it just really is. Then the Arc Glacier, like you mentioned, in normal mode, toggling the abilities on and off is such a good step. It is absolutely great being able to just use one thing at a time. You can practice your prayer flicking there, and it doesn't have like a specific order, it is random, so it can be the same one twice, or it can be all three differently. So it is absolutely great to practice that there. And then you've got other stuff as well. The Arc Glacier is definitely a good starting point as well. If you already have gear and you already have a little bit of experience in using abilities and stuff like that, if you don't need to practice DPS rotations, all that sort of stuff. So it depends where you're actually entering, what boss you want to start on. If you have, say, an account that has spent a lot of time doing skilling and you've made a lot of money, maybe you've managed to do loads of clues and you've been doing clues for ages, and you have like best in slot gear, then you probably aren't going to need to start at God Wars 1 with best in slot gear. I'd just jump straight into God Wars 2 or the Arc Glacier. But if you're someone who really only has low level gear because it's the first time you've played the game and your goal was to get into PvM straight away, then God Wars 1 is going to be great because it's going to give you upgrades. Even though you may be looking at it like, oh, it only drops like things that are worth 2 or 3 mil, that's great. Honestly, when you have nothing, 3 mil's good. It's really good. It's a big increase. It's massive. You don't have to get 1 mil drop straight away. You can start there. So I would suggest going where your level is, going where your account is, and going where your skill level is as well. So just take a look at that, see if you have no experience whatsoever, start at God Wars 1. If you have some experience, you've played the game for a while, and you have good gear, then start at Arc Glacier, God Wars 2. And if you are sort of mid-level, then you can decide maybe you do a little bit of DPS practice in God Wars 1, and then you make your way to Vindicta, and then Hellweir and Arc Glacier. But those 3 bosses, other than all of God Wars 1, are probably your best starting points. But keep in mind, you may struggle with these bosses too. If you struggle with these bosses, do not get stressed out. Don't get put off. It takes practice. Everyone was in your place at 1.2. You'll get it. Honestly, don't give up on it. You will definitely be able to do it. Okay, this has gone quite long, so we'll make this our last one, but this one's quite important and I wanted to answer it. And it says, on average, how long would you dedicate to specifically learning PvM mechanics? After you achieve overloads, curses, etc., just a ballpark range for intermediate players. In other words, how long is necessary to become an efficient, skilled PvM player? Now, before I say this is going to be different for everyone, because it will, I want to just make it clear that people who are like incredibly good at PvM have been PvMing for a hell of a long time, or they have just experience with that sort of stuff in other games, right? And they've brought it across from there. It's like a transferred skill. Becoming a PvMer takes a long time. It just does. You got to put a lot of practice in, doing mechanics, learning mechanics and stuff, learning how to deal with stuff like on the fly. It takes a lot of practice. Learning specific bosses can still take ages. When a new boss comes out, there's a good chance that I'll be there for a week plus working on that boss, because even though I can do most of the bosses in the game, it's a learning curve. And that learning curve is going to differ for every single person, like I said before, depending where your skill is. But you specifically said for intermediate players, so someone who's maybe got into God Wars 2, moving up to things like Raksha, moving up to things like ED3 solos, and anything above that, I suppose, It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take practice. You're going to have a lot of stuff you need to learn that is different from what you're used to. So rather than just using like resonance alone to heal from an attack, you're going to be using anticipate before stuns come through. So you need to remember when they are ready. You need to be standing in the right places at the right times. If you're off by 1 second, it could completely ruin the kill. There's going to be a lot of stuff. You're going to have to increase your DPS in certain situations as well, when to use what abilities. There is a hell of a lot to it, and there's a big step up. So it does take a long time. Now, for the average person, it is going to be a lot of effort. But if you're enjoying it, if you want to do PVM and you want to make money through it and you actually enjoy learning and stuff, then it's not a problem. Look at it like this. You're enjoying what you're doing. You're enjoying the practice. You're enjoying the progress. That's good, because when you finally get that first kill, you're going to have such a buzz. You should be enjoying it, trust me, because once you can do every boss in the game, it gets a little bit old. But don't let people tell you that you should be doing it a lot quicker than you are. You'll work at your own pace. You can do it how you want to do it. If you want to put in an hour a week at the boss, for example, just do it like that. Do whatever you want to do, but just don't let yourself feel like you should be doing things a lot quicker than you already are, because it will take longer for some people. Other people will pick it up stupidly quick. The people who are picking it up really quick will probably have experience in PVM or other sort of stuff very similar as well. So if you're completely fresh to it, it is going to take a while. Just keep that in mind, and don't let it bring you down, and don't let it stop you from actually sort of learning it and going back, and don't let it put you off, basically. I can tell you it took me over a week to learn Raksha, and that was while I was being carried through duos and stuff as well. So trust me, it happens. Anyway, that's going to bring us to the end of the comments for the most common questions that seem to get asked around clans and stuff in the game. So hopefully it helped you understand a few of them, and hopefully you figured out the answer to a couple. But some of them will still be, the best way to get the information for it is to ask in clans and stuff, because it depends on your situation, and I can't possibly answer that without knowing what situation you're in. But anyway, I hope this video did help you out. If it did, make sure to leave a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new and you enjoy this sort of content, along with a lot of other RuneScape content as well. Thank you all to my channel members for the extra support. I really appreciate it. Your names will be on screen now, of course, as always. And like I say, it's always very appreciated. For anyone else that is interested in joining the channel members, click the join button by the sub button, and you can see what perks you get while also supporting the channel. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.